Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I haven't posted in like 6 months because I don't know, I was just going through some stuff, so I didn't post at all. Sorry for that. Anyway, so it's 6th of June and I thought of making a video about what books I read in May. In May I read 13 books and I'm gonna show you what books I read last month. So that being said, I should start. So the first book is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I love this book. I rated it 4.5 in Goodreads, and it was amazing. Actually, I loved how dark this book was and how over the top melodramatic Dorian Gray was, and I loved the murder in the plot. I won't give any spoilers, but I'm pretty sure people know what the story is about. I also love the homoerotic underlining, if you will. I mean, like, who doesn't? And yeah, I love Oscar Wilde in general, so I love this book. And then I read Julius Caesar by Shakespeare. I won't rate it because I don't think I stand in a place to rate Shakespeare, but I loved it. And yeah, Julius Caesar. Everyone knows what Julius Caesar is about, so I don't think I have to explain you what this play was about. But it was good. I liked it. And then I read Macbeth. So I think last year I started reading this book, but I read this book for like 5 pages and then I stopped because Shakespeare for some reason went over my head at that time. But I came around to it in May last month and I read this book and I love this book. I mean, if I could, I would rate it 5 out of 5, but I don't think I stand in a place to rate Shakespeare again because I am me and Shakespeare's Shakespeare. So anyways, I think Macbeth's my favorite of all of Shakespeare's plays. But that being said, I've only read like 4 plays of Shakespeare: The Tempest, Merchant of Venice, Macbeth, and Julius Caesar. And within those 4, this is my favorite play of Shakespeare. I've been also reading the sonnets and songs of Shakespeare in another book, but yeah. And then I read Call Me By Your Name by Andre Aciman. So I don't think many people know about this book, but this book is really good. I rated it, I think 3.8 or 3.9 in Goodreads because it's not all the way 4, but it's not 3.5 either. So it's somewhere in the middle. I might change the ratings to 4 now that I think about it, but that's besides the point. So this book is set in 1980s Europe, and here the 2 main characters are Elio and Oliver. And now Elio is a 17-year-old boy and Oliver is a 24-year-old professor, and they meet in Elio's house in Italy and they fall in love. Now I won't give any spoilers, but yeah, you should really read this book because I love this book. I mean, this is a really controversial book because the age gap between Elio and Oliver and their relationship is not really mainstream, and some people might not like it. And if you don't like it, go ahead, don't read. But if you don't have a problem with that sort of relationship and age gap, go give it a read because I love this book personally. So yeah, that's that. And then I read Amar Chilebala by Maxim Gorky. So this is basically the my childhood version. It's like the Bengali translation because I had it lying around my house and I found it when I was cleaning my bookshelf. So yeah, my father insisted I should read this book, so I read it. And surprisingly, I hadn't ever read Gorky before, but I loved this book. It made me cry, classic me. But yeah, it was basically somewhat like David Copperfield, but in real life, because this is like an autobiographical book, and this is the first book of the trilogy of Maxim Gorky's growing up, how he grew up. And I am looking forward to reading the other 2 books, the second and the third book. But I love this book and I'll probably read the other 2 books in Bengali too. And I won't rate this book because again, this was written by Maxim Gorky. It was his childhood, and I stand in no place to rate someone's childhood, and that someone being Gorky. So like, I am not that accomplished. Pardon me for that. Anyways, after that, I read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is also hyped up, and I think it was a wonderful story, and I loved reading this. So it's a classic, and I rated it, I think, 4 out of 5 in Goodreads, and I love this book. You know, everyone knows the story of Frankenstein. I personally thought that Frankenstein was like a tragic hero. He wanted to be good, but he couldn't because he wasn't accepted by humans, and it has so many underlying metaphors, and I love this book for that. And yeah, that was that. After that, I finished reading Wuthering Heights. So I don't know why I included this book in this video, because I started reading it in March, I think, but I stopped reading it in the middle, and I went halfway through it, and then I DNF'd it, and then I watched the movie, which I thought the movie was really dramatic. But then, boy oh boy, I finished reading this book, and yeah, this was dramatic too. It was really dramatic, but I liked it. I mean, like, this made me cry. That was heart-wrenching, and the way I speak, that doesn't show my emotions, because I'm over it now, because I read it last month, and I am not that emotional or affected by this book right now. But yeah, while I was reading it, I cried, and I was really emotional. So Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, I read this, and then this was probably my least favorite book. So this was Dracula by Bram Stoker. I don't know why this is so hyped. I would rate it 3 out of 5. I know this is a classic, and this is so many people's favorite book, but it wasn't for me. Like, I think if I was like 10 or 11, I would have loved it, but I'm almost 17, so I don't think I liked it. I'm not saying that adults or like grown-ups won't like it. Maybe you will like it if this is your taste, but it wasn't just my thing. But yeah, anyways, I read this book. I sort of liked it. I enjoyed reading it. It wasn't that interesting, but it was whatever. And then I read The Moon and Sixpence by W. Somerset Maugham, and I love this book. I took a long time to read this book, because in the middle I stopped reading, and then again I started reading this, but it was all in May, so I started and finished it within May. So this book is about Charles Strickland, who was a fictional character who was, I believe, who lived in London, but he left his wife and children to become an artist. He first went to Paris and started painting there, and then went to somewhere, I don't remember where he went, and there he died. There he married a girl there, a native girl. I love this book. This book was really weird. This book wasn't weird. Charles Strickland, the main character, was weird. Anyways, I love this book anyways, and I learned a lot from this book, and weirdly it grew my interest for painting, so it did some good, I guess, and it was really good. Also, I didn't rate it because this is a classic, and I don't believe I stand in a place to rate Mom, because like, who am I to rate it? So that's that. And then I read, so here I've written the 4 other books, and these I don't own hard copies of these books. I read this book on my Kindle. So first was Eleanor Park by Rainbow Rowell. I think I rated it a 3.5 out of 5. It was good. It wasn't that bad. It was sad, but I liked it. I don't usually read contemporaries nowadays, because I'm more of a classic kind of girl. So, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. And then I read Radio Silence by Alice Oseman, and I liked the book. It was really new. It was different, sort of, if you can talk about it, because every contemporary I read is sort of John Green-ish. So it was different. It was a new thing, so I enjoyed reading it. And then I read Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I liked the book, but The Fault in Our Stars is still my favorite books written by John Green. It's a classic John Green. Who won't like it? But yeah, I enjoyed it too. And then at last I read Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertelli, and I enjoyed this book. It was really quirky. It was really fun to read, and it was actually really easy to go through. So I read that, and that's that. These are the books I read. I read 13 books. 9 I had hard copies, and other 4 were on my Kindle. And before May, for like a month, I didn't read much. I hardly read like a book or two because I just didn't read. I was going through a book slump. So after that, I started reading, and then I couldn't stop reading. So that's that. And yeah, these are the books, and these are the books I read in May. And I'm currently reading The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli, but I'll probably include this book in the video for what I read in June. So hope you guys enjoyed it. It was really made in a rush. I didn't plan on making this video, but like I just thought, why not make videos, because I read a good amount of books in May, so like I just thought I could flex a bit. So that's that. I'm gonna end this video. I don't know how to end this video because I don't have an outro, so bear with me. Peace out.